Hey, what's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. A Return to School, Tensura x COTE, by Asuryii. Chapter 4. A new major corporation is born. Being outside the White Room is a great feeling. The air conditioning inside the White Room feels nice and keeps the complex cool and comfortable, but the feeling of wind blowing through your hair and on your face is truly an amazing feeling. Being outside in the air reminds me that the world truly is beautiful. After being in the White Room for so long, I feel I may now have a slight disdain towards white walls. They are simply quite bland. Hey, can I ask something? Do you actually wish for me to treat you guys as my parents, or would that make you feel uncomfortable? The childish mind does deeply affect the perception and growth of a person, but I couldn't guess how Velda and Lucia felt about this situation. Rimuru-chan, didn't I say this already? I am now your mother. I would like to be referred to as such even if you're adopted. Lucia looked back at me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I could almost feel as if a legendary weapon was to appear in her hands at any second. Yay, Rimuru. No matter the circumstances before, up until now, as of this moment in this life, we are taking the role of your parents. It would be nice to be treated as such. Of course, I know you want to develop a company and make it into a corporation. I may not know the extent of your plans, but I do know one thing. As of now, until you die, you are my son. The past has nothing to do with the now. Velda looked back at me for a moment with a warm and welcoming smile. Thank you, Velda, Lucia. No, Mom, Dad. I look forward to the experiences life holds for us. I felt a smile form on my face, and the look on Lucia's face as I smiled was one that spoke of motherly love and affection. I truly was lucky to have them and all the people around me. But Rimuru, that also means if you get a partner I need to interrogate. I mean speak with them. Oh dear, here we go. My partner in the future is screwed. Good luck whoever you are. By the way, even if you weren't worried about it, no, we did not lose our son. He just so conveniently ended up inside of the White Room. Not thanks to a certain dear friend of ours. Lucia was speaking in a cryptic tongue, leaving me slightly confused. Wait, she mentioned the White Room. Does that mean? Hey. It's exactly as you think, Rimuru. I truly do love the absolutely astonished and surprised face you are currently wearing. You are my biological son in this lifetime. Velda wore a smug smirk on his face. Damn it, Seal. You contacted Velda and Lucia beforehand. No wonder you reacted so quickly when I joked about reviving him. So what is my name going forward? You're my biological parents and now my second adoptive parents. I was born Rimuru with no surname. Then I was Rimuru Ayanokoji. But I am now also considered your successor and biological son. Am I Rimuru Nava? This is so confusing. Why can't legal documents hold middle names here? Rimuru Nava. Rimuru Nava. But I am technically registered as a foreigner, but that makes zero difference to you. Then why bother mentioning it? Dear, if it makes zero difference, why mention it? Oh shit, he's dead. Hyphenated names exist, but they're just not common. So I am Rimuru Nava and not Rimuru Ayanokoji Nava. Yes, that's correct, Rimuru, you're just Rimuru Nava. It was easy to have your name changed back to Rimuru Nava since I'm really good at arguing. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you are in a very weird situation. It's like Lucia said. You were adopted after being lost at birth, then years later readopted by your biological parents. To make it easy, the agreement was, I will not lie, a little shady. That Atsuomi or Professor Ayanokoji really took advantage of his position. He made it seem like you were adopted not on paper but accidentally when you were lost at birth. So it was made to seem our son was graciously taken care of till we found him and took him back under our wing. This really is a complex situation, but as long as it's resolved and everything works out, I trust we'll be fine. Oh, by the way, can you do me a favor? Yay, what it is, ask away. Can you get into contact with? We had a long conversation and talked about plans moving forward. It will take a little adjusting, but my developing brain seemed to quickly recognize Lucia and Velda as my parents. The two of them had been busy during the time I was in the White Room and before. They had created a small company that had a few buildings across Japan that was steadily growing. They had also made a few very big connections on accident. They had cordial relationships with the matriarch of the Kyuan Group Corporation, the Koenji conglomerate, The Tsubakis who I learned were the parents to Yuki, and a few other reputable families and companies. We don't talk about the Yakuza that Velda came to know. They really had hit the gold mine of making friends who somehow were all powerful. Seal definitely did something, but I don't mind. I intend to do all I can to enjoy this life and experience as much as I can. The work done at the company locations Velda and Lucia held was simple enough, but it was easy to branch off into other connected facets. They worked in engineering and development. Lucia wanted to get into clothing, so they also owned a clothing brand. The brand was by no means big, but it was adequate. The clothes themselves weren't over the top either. They called their companies and clothing brands by easy names. The clothing brand was under their company Nava Limited and the brand was called Cardinal Wisdom. A very simple name. It fit the overall general appeal of the brand and its clothes they produced, along with the fact it held a reference to the cardinal world. It was easy to begin the process of entering into other facets such as technological advancements, scientific advancements, electronics, motor transports, daily conveniences, and eventually property development, along with a few other business ventures. The base that was held was easy to reinforce and build on. The connections made prior to the start of rebuilding everything made everything succeed much more smoothly. The training in the White Room and my experiences up until now made this a relatively simple process. I am surprised that Velda hadn't done what I did earlier. Knowing him, he forgot or simply chose not to care. It took 4 years to complete, but I can successfully say that I succeeded in completing my goal of making a new major corporation to shake up the political world. Due to my interference, I had gained high notoriety and recognition in high society and the political world. I had yet to show all my abilities, but today I was meeting someone from the Kyuan group. Well, I was supposed to be speaking to the matriarch Shika, but she had received a request from her daughter to meet me first. It seems the head of the Kyuan group likes to indulge their child's requests. She was supposed to be around my age. I was not informed why she wanted to meet or what for, just that she wanted to meet me. I hope my meeting with her daughter goes well, so my plan to gain power of the White Room if necessary is acquired. I already had met with a few people before the Kyuans, but they would be a massive step to gaining the support of another powerful group. I had met the Kanzakis, the Sakayanagis, the Shizukos, Shuru's family, non-canon, and the Tsubakis, Yuki's family, canon IDK. I tried to meet the Amasawas since they held major power in regards to sponsoring the White Room, but they are far too supportive of the White Room to bother going against it if I ever ended up going to end the White Room. President Nava, Mrs. Nava, and you must be Rimuru. It's nice to meet you. Why don't we do some catching up first? Rimuru, my daughter is in the room 3 doors on the left. If she isn't in the room, feel free to wait inside. I simply nodded and gave a slight bow before excusing myself and walking towards the room she mentioned. I'm feeling suspicious about this situation. I was told to come in clothes I could move in well rather than formal wear by the matriarch, and I was advised to listen by Velda and Lucia. I'm feeling extremely suspicious as to why. I genuinely had no clue. I brought a suit just in case it was necessary, but I still felt perplexed as to why I needed to wear clothes I could move in. After entering the room I was to meet the young Kyuan, I had an odd feeling. She wasn't in the room, but it felt like I was being watched. She isn't here, but I feel I am being watched. The door is far enough from the table that most people wouldn't hear it opening because of how silent the door is. Why do I feel like I should be on guard, as if I am about to be attacked? I pushed my worries to the side while still keeping my guard up, not that it was ever really down. My senses are absurd. Putting my guard down means nothing, it's like I never put my guard down. In the next instant after I sat myself at the table in the center of the room, my senses heightened as I felt someone rushing towards me at high speeds. Their footsteps were relatively quiet. I could hear them nonetheless, but they came at me at a high speed. It was nothing to scoff at, but it was painfully slow to Kyo, especially after Shuru left the White Room. The footsteps grew closer: 4 meters, 2.5 meters, 1.5 meters. Finally, as they drew closer, I made my move. I kicked my legs out of my sitting position and swept my left leg with my heel facing towards the center of the room, around and towards the direction of the approaching footsteps. Out of the corner of my eyes I saw the figure I now determined was a female and most likely matriarch Kyuan's daughter jump out of the way of my sweep. As she touched back to the ground, she immediately burst forwards at me. She would be a good runner with how fast she accelerated in that moment. I had left myself slightly open after the sweep, and she seemed to want to take advantage of that opening, which led to her immediately coming back towards me. Leaning slightly towards the right and spinning clockwise, I kicked my legs out towards the girl and pushed for the floor, doing a single-handed backwards handspring. As I launched myself off the ground, I spun like a corkscrew to change my orientation, allowing me to face her head on. If this was a gymnastics event, I totally would have received a perfect 10 from every judge for the beautiful landing and movements I made. The girl's eyes looked slightly surprised as I stared directly at her, watching her movements. She had beautiful crimson red eyes and long platinum blonde hair, while she wore a pair of simple black pants and a long-sleeved hoodless white sweater and a black metal headband holding some of her hair. Besides the small spurt of surprise on her face, for a moment she immediately switched to an amused and entertained smirk. She slowed down an instant due to her surprise, but she continued to close the distance between us rapidly. I had 4.5 meters between us when I made a decision. This interaction will last forever. I can tell by the look on her face that she finds this situation entertaining and won't stop till she is satisfied. But on the other hand, I shouldn't hurt her, as I can't guess the possible repercussions it may cause. I'll just have to pin her onto the pillow in front of the table so she doesn't get hurt, and I can maybe cool her down. I let her draw in near until she made a movement. I didn't expect she mid-dash picked up the pillow and threw it at me. Well, that was unexpected but a welcome surprise. I quickly caught the pillow as it was about to hit my face and burst towards her. Her eyes widened in surprise as I was instantly on her. She had amazing reactions. I was about to grab her to pin her when she reeled back slightly, but this left me another opening. Looks like I get to hold a beauty today. That was a simple thought that filled my head as I tripped her up and caught her quickly inside my arms with the pillow supporting her head and neck. Are you all right? She looked at me confused for a moment before a microscopic blush began to slowly fill her face, but before it could progress any further, she instantly regained her composure. Wow, she has really good emotional control. Hey, I'm perfect right now. I certainly didn't expect you to be this interesting. I'm Kyuan Fuka, but you can call me Fuka. Her voice came out confidently and held an extremely carefree attitude with it. Haha. You sure are sounding confident for someone who tried to attack another person but ended up in their arms. I like that. I'm Rimuru Nava. You can call me Rimuru or whatever you like. It seems like you would call me as you please based on your attitude anyway. Fuka Pav Kyuan. I was told that my mother would be having guests today that were some of her old acquaintances, and their son would be coming as he had a proposal for us. I thought nothing of it at first and intended to go do as I pleased during the duration of the meeting and the possible dinner they may have, but my interest instantly piqued as I was informed of who was coming. Fuka-chan, the people coming are the Navas and their son Rimuru. Rimuru was the one who wanted to make a proposal to us. Once my mother said that, I immediately became curious and interested. It had been long since I heard the Nava Limited had grown into the Nava Corporation, and it was mostly thanks to the efforts and insights of their son Rimuru. I had heard from my mom before that it was a weird situation as to how the Navas had found their son who they thought they'd lost, but once they reunited, the company they had immediately began to grow at an exponential rate. They reached into many facets and even had quite a few business deals with many reputable and powerful companies, families, and groups. We had received supplies and workers a few times from them and held a few contracts, but the son had never come to us himself to propose anything, so I never had the chance to meet him. It would have been an easy task to ask my mother to set up a meeting between the two of us so I could see who he really was. But I decided not to, as I had felt that I would meet him one day irregardless of my actions. This day did come. He was coming to us directly, so I had to take advantage of this opportunity. Mother, I would like to meet the son of the Navas and see who he is for myself. Being of similar stature and status, I feel curious about his abilities. Era. Fuka-chan is interested in meeting the future head of the Nava Corporation. Well, I suppose I can spare some time for you to meet him while I talk about life with the Navas and such since the last time we met. I can already guess your intentions. I'll have him wear comfortable clothes when he comes. I felt excited to meet Rimuru. I had heard countless times of his abilities and achievements, but I wanted to see who and what he was for myself. I wanted to see how much he could entertain me and what he could do. The day came soon after Mother told me of the meeting. I was informed by my mother as they arrived and waited in the room I was supposed to meet Rimuru in. I was slightly taken aback by his mesmerizing golden eyes and his radiant, almost silk-like platinum blue hair. He walked completely silently as if he wasn't there at all, and confidence radiated out of him like an aura. His face held a bored yet curious expression till he calmly sat in the middle of the room. I waited a moment to see if he would let his guard down and become complacent. It looked like he did, but also felt as if he was always on guard, so I took a chance to test Rimuru and satiate my curiosity and desire for entertainment. I almost felt disappointed for a moment as I came towards him till I felt my body yell at me to dodge when I neared close to him. He had come from an awkward position and swept at me in an instant. The speed at which he moved was astonishing. If I hadn't trusted my instincts, I wouldn't have been able to react to his counter. I felt a smile tug at my face as I decided to push towards him again when he suddenly kicked towards me, forcing me to stop instantly. I could feel my legs didn't like going from accelerating to an instant stop like that, but if I had continued forward, his legs kicking towards me would have grazed me at the very least. Then he did a one-handed backwards handspring while spinning like a corkscrew to change the direction he faced to look at me. His movements were so precise and practiced to perfection that if you told me he was a future Olympic gymnast, I'd believe you. Taking a final chance to test him, I came to the idea as I was in motion towards him to distract him by throwing the zabuton at him. Unsurprisingly, he caught it, but then he burst towards me and closed the distance between us in an instant. I immediately reeled back, and then in the next moment I was held in his arms, staring into his radiant, almost divine golden eyes. I felt my face heat up before I quickly composed myself. But then he laughed after I replied to his question slightly and wore a smile like no other as he spoke. He wore simple clothes, but the plain gray pants, his black dress shoes, the black hoodie, and his black windbreaker only made the radiance of his smile that much more prominent. His smile was filled with curiosity, entertainment, and enjoyment. His soft, warm gaze from his golden eyes drew me in deeply. I didn't even feel time passing as I looked into those eyes. His smile reminded me of one saying in particular, and if I ever felt it had to be true, Rimuru's smile made me feel as if it was despite me knowing little about him. Those who are hurt the most smile the brightest. It was all I could think as I looked at his smile. I didn't even know if it was true, but my intuition told me it was. Quickly escaping my thoughts, I finally got out of his arms and looked to the doorway when I saw his gaze shift. I didn't expect them to get along this well. Right, Chika-chan, I didn't expect this either. It seems your daughter's usual spiel ended differently than she expected. But I certainly never expected my son to be a lady killer. From behind me I heard a deep, loud, despair-filled sigh, and as I looked at Rimuru, the source of the sigh, he was busy rubbing his eyes, wearing an expression as if he had aged 40 years just in that instant. Rimuru, go ahead and head to the next room to change quickly. We will be heading to dinner with the Karyuans, and you can discuss with Mr. Karyuan on the way there. We will be riding, men in one vehicle and women in the other. I will change quickly. Mother, father, matriarch Karyuan, Fuka, please excuse me. Bowing deeply, he grabbed a bag and stepped out of the room to go change. Well, I for one am glad I put some extra zabuton in this room like you said I should, Lucia. Me too, Chika-chan. This means we can question your daughter on what happened and get all the details. Oh, just like we did back in high school to literally every single person in the school. But we can't let your son scot-free though. We have to question him too. I wish you good luck, Fuka. I still remember when these two questioned your dad and I for hours, if not days, when they learned we were interested in their friend. I felt my heart drop at those words. I knew my mother could talk for hours ceaselessly, but I never expected to be on the receiving end of her curious questioning. Well, we have 2 hours till we leave for dinner, and Rimuru should return within 10 minutes. We definitely have time to question our kids. I looked to Mrs. Nava's husband, hoping for him to bail me out of this situation, as this did not seem entertaining for me at all. But all I got in return was him looking away, calmly sipping on a cup of green tea. Well, at least Rimuru will be stuck in this with me too. Maybe his reactions will be entertaining. Fuka-chan, are you interested in Rimuru? My mother came right out the gate with a heavy-hitting question. I felt my face heat up, but I took a deep breath and composed myself. I need to learn to compose myself better for when I get into high school. Oh, if you're interested in my son, we can have you engaged if you want. Whatever you do, leave me and Kato out of this one. I'll immediately forfeit my stance on this matter. President Nava, you're joking, can't you at least be a little against your son getting engaged? I will admit I am interested in him. I do find him entertaining. But I don't know the first thing about him and we only just met. If I decide I desire Rimuru, I will take him of my own accord. Ah, ooh. Chika-chan, we might become sisters-in-law. I approve of her pursuing my son. She's your daughter, I'd be funny to see her dragging Ri-chan around. Wait. Lucia, you're right. This is an amazing revelation. We can share tea and gossip like we did in high school again if they get together. I trust your son to take care of my daughter. I just feel my husband would question Rimuru, but I still will question him myself. Oh, Rimuru, get back here fast. In an instant my prayers were answered, but my surprised, thankful, and happy face only made my mother and Rimuru's mother wear smug smirks on their faces. Mother, father, matriarch Kyuan, Fuka. I apologize for the delay, I have returned. Ri-chan, come sit. You're being questioned. All he gave was a small nod, calmly closing the door before coming to the table and sitting beside me opposite to our mothers. So I take it this is an interrogation and father has no intentions of helping me escape this situation. You would be exactly right, Rimuru, good luck. Rimuru let out a small sigh before he looked towards our respective mother with a face showing absolute, pure resolve. I can't wait to see you embarrassed. That should be entertaining. Rimuru, are you interested in my daughter? My mother in an instant switched tones from her cheerful, easygoing, confident one she had mere moments ago. Now her voice was calm, serious, and clear. She was looking for an honest answer and would receive it no matter what. I don't know why, but I felt oddly curious about the answer he would give. I do find your daughter interesting. She is certainly unique. But your question seems to be pertaining to whether I have feelings of like or love towards her, and to that I must say I have no clue. I just met your daughter not even 15 minutes ago, so I know very little about her. But from what I do know I find her attractive and be a very interesting person in regards to her personality. Rimuru's voice came out calm, clear, and showed no amount of hesitation as he looked my mother directly in the eyes as if there was nothing else in the room. You really have piqued my interest, Rimuru. You can spout pleasantries like that as if it's nothing. I absolutely have to learn more about you. You truly appear to be an entertaining specimen. I like your answer. It's very clear you understood the meaning of my question and you answered it honestly. Your gaze was unwavering and you needed no time to think or hesitate at all. You also made it clear you cannot give me a full answer as you do not understand the content of which I was referring to in great detail. Now that the serious stuff is out of the way, Chika-chan, it's time. I believe it is Lucia. Time to embarrass our kids. Ha. This at least seems more interesting than I had first thought, though at the very least I can learn more about Rimuru, who has piqued my interest, and gauge his personality. Rimuru's reactions were not as I was expecting. How was he calm through the whole thing? He never hesitated once. He also didn't get embarrassed once. Now I really want to see him embarrassed or crack his composure. What would he look like, angry and embarrassed? I needed to know. The thought of it was far too entertaining to let pass up. I hadn't realized till we got to the dinner, but damn, Rimuru was hot in a suit. I did say it out loud at one point, which my father and Rimuru's father jaw dropped at, while our mothers found it entertaining. He really should wear black and gold more often. A few days had passed and I heard my father talking to my mother about some facility called the White Room and Rimuru. He said he was looking at Rimuru's file or something and it piqued my interest, so I snuck into his office and peeked at the open file labeled confidential. I opened the file and peeked at it a little bit before I quickly closed it and exited the office. Rimuru was in an experimental facility for the 8 years he was away from his parents. But to add to it, he was truly incredible. I hope he'll continue to entertain me, but I also wonder if he's fine. The small tidbits of information I looked at were enough to turn my stomach. Rimuru. I'm heading to ANHS. I better see you there next year. If I don't, I'm going to beat your ass. After all, if you're not there, who's going to be there to entertain me? I got it, Fuka. Make sure you're not late for orientation. I'll join you next year. Make sure you don't miss me too much for the next year. I hope to see you doing well when I step onto the campus. Don't worry about me. I'll have no issues dealing with my classmates and the seniors. I am Kyuan Fuka after all. Well, I'll see you in a year. Try not to cry cause you miss me. Haha. I'd say the same to you, Fuka. See you in a year. Don't forget to practice your excuses for next time I see you. See you soon, Fuka. Good luck. Ha. You really are something. See you in a year, Rimuru. The call cut off and I began to walk towards the school I would be at for the next 3 years ANHS. You better get in, Rimuru. I'll beat your ass if you don't. Dash 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 dash. Rimuru Pav. Meeting the Kyuans went better than I expected. I was able to get them interested in the White Room for my and Kiyotaka's best interests. They agreed to help me should I ever want to end the White Room or if I wish to reform it into a more humane and effective facility. Kyuan Kato, Fuka's dad, was a nice man. He reminded me immensely of Benimaru with how he acted. He along with his wife Kyuan Chika were very quickly on board with my plans. They also understood my reasoning behind leaving an option to remodel the White Room if we didn't end it. Though Fuka's dad definitely is an overprotective father, I will say that it was a great experience being questioned by him and having a thoughtful discussion with him. After getting the Kyuans to back me up, I finally had the backing to negotiate with the Koenji conglomerate. But as the years went, they never made a final decision and said they would leave it to the heir of the Koenji conglomerate, Koenji Rokusuke, after he finishes high school. I was fine with this outcome for one simple reason. Koenji was a very clear-cut person. He came off as a narcissist, which he was, but he had reason to act as such. His abilities and status made up the reasons behind how he acts. Plus, I can always respect someone who has confidence in themselves. I didn't have issues interacting with Koenji despite his attitude. It does get annoying, but it is generally pretty entertaining. I interacted with Fuka too much and her personality began rubbing off on me more. I would say that Fuka and Koenji are so similar that people may compare them, but as you look at them more, it is very clear the differences between the two. Luckily for me, Koenji planned to go to ANHS. He knows I am from the White Room but has no idea of anyone else from it for the sole reason that negotiations needed me to expose myself. He knows that there is no good reason to speak of the White Room's existence, so he easily agreed to not speak of it unless with me in an enclosed space. I'm glad I got contact with Shuru and Yuki along with their families early. I was able to convince them to come to ANHS. It will be good for Kiyotaka. But here we are, the final bastion, that man's office once again. Seriously, I hate coming here. Come in. Sit. Let's get this over with quickly. I want you to send me and Kiyotaka to ANHS. Why would I send my masterpiece? I can understand getting you, but why him? You're going to have to shut down the White Room temporarily. You need more support and backers to secure the future of the White Room, and what's the best way to do that? Achievements. You can't currently clearly advertise that I am from the White Room or some of your backers at the moment because you only have Kiyotaka and I as successes in a sense. Quote. You can't say I am your masterpiece because of a few reasons. 1. I have been in society making impacts, and 2. People would be able to say the outside world made who I am. This leaves Kiyotaka your masterpiece, but there is an issue. Your data and the few showcases you made mean little to most. They will argue any kid can beat a grandmaster at chess, any kid can beat a professional fighter, and any kid can ace a college-level exam. Get to your point. Kiyotaka clearly has no emotions, as you can see. You need to build his emotions for him to be truly a masterpiece. The White Room can't do that at all. Don't delude yourself. I am applying to ANHS, the best school in all of Japan, mind you. If your masterpiece entered ANHS and graduated at the top, imagine the support and the level that achievement means. Send Kiyotaka to ANHS. He can learn emotions unimpeded, freely at his own pace. He can subvert a rebellious phase and you don't have a runaway Kiyotaka situation possible. Then to make it harder to test him, you can send kids from the 5th and 6th generation the next years to expel Kiyotaka. Here, this way you get to push towards your goal, the kids get motivation, and to top it off you save yourself unnecessary trouble. Quote. Your face says you agree. I will go give the good news to the 5th and 6th generation about the chance to go to ANHS or the outside world and see the masterpiece. Then I will meet you at the 4th gen classroom where I will pick up my little brother. Fine. Your argument is valid. I will support his enrollment, he'll fail. If he fails though, he will return to me. Agreed, goodbye. Dumbass Kiyotaka won't fail. Mr. Sakayangi already knows I am sending Kiyotaka. He signed a contract with me accepting him already. I also got surprises for my dear little brother. Coming to the 5th gen classroom, I was let in with a simple nod and the classroom paused what they were doing to listen to me. Hey guys. Good to see you. Great news. The top students in 2 years will be getting a chance to go to ANHS where I and our dear masterpiece will be attending. This gives you a chance to meet your idol or defeat him because you hate him, same for me. The room immediately got loud as the students talked to each other about what I said before I was questioned by my favorite 5th gen students. Will the masterpiece really be going? Will our God really be going? Ikika. Takuya-chan. Of course he will. I just spoke with the professor about it. So that means I can finally prove I'm better than you in that masterpiece. Dumbass, you really didn't learn that hate won't help you. Disappointing, Takuya-chan. Well, I know your last name is Yagami, but I'll decide whether I prefer Taku-chan, Takuya-chan, or Yagami-chan. It feels great seeing a tick mark appear on his forehead. So we'll be able to meet the masterpiece and we can be with Rimuru-senpai. Yeah, you will. Now excuse me, I have to go inform the 6th generation and our dear masterpiece. The room was in an uproar as I left. The same thing happened as I left the 6th generation class and went to see my little brother. Yes, he is my little brother. I have no clue who of us is older, but I say I am, so I am. And he may only be my step brother in a sense, but don't sweat the details. Asuryii. Damn it, Rimuru gonna make me go broke if you break this wall that much again. Kiyotaka. Bursting into the 4th gen classroom, I looked to the center of the room to see Kiyotaka looking back at me with a slightly curious blank face. My dear little brother. How am I your little brother? You were adopted twice. And we share the same birthday. If anything, I'm the older one. Don't sweat the details. Well, Kiyo, let's go. You didn't. I did. You have freedom for the next 3 years, come on, let's go. You have to prepare for high school. Ha. You really do live on your own wavelength. So what's the deal? I gave Kiyotaka a look saying I'll explain later. I quickly handed him some clothes and we walked out the facility where we were met by my parents and Matsuo the butler, that man, has sent to take care of Kiyo. Little does he know Matsuo is on my side. Get fucked. I also have his family and such under my wing. We quickly entered the car and Kiyo gave me a look saying explain. Well, Kiyo, you are taking an entrance exam to ANHS, but don't worry, your admission was guaranteed and there you can do whatever you want and not deal with that man. You have 3 years of freedom where he cannot force you to leave. To top it off, I made this agreement seem like he had a chance to take you back at any time he wanted. Knowing you, there's more to it. There is. Kiyo, during these 3 years take time to decide something for me. Should the white room exist or not, and should it exist, is change needed. I got people to help me ensure any outcome can happen. So all you need to do is enjoy high school life and you get to hang out with some old friends and meet new people. A small, extremely small unintentional smile crossed Kiyo's face as I finished speaking. Of course, I quickly took a picture to show him after he finished his thoughts. Thanks, Rimuru. You said old friends, but I don't have friends. That you do. Well, they see you as a friend. Don't push them away, give them a chance. Learn new things and experience new things. And soon this show's picture of small Kiyo smile will be something you can do at any time. His eyes widened a bit as he looked at the picture and the date and time it was taken. Ah, you really are a pain sometimes. Truly unpredictable. Thanks, Rimuru. No problem, Kiyo. We may not be blood related, but I do see you as my brother. I still see myself as the older one, but we can debate that later. He let out a deep sigh, almost questioning what he got himself into. A few months later, it was time to start our high school life at ANHS.